morning. Today we're going to paint one of my favorite places. It is the city beach in Dunnellon, Florida. And I want to show you the video that I got the reference photo from. So let me start it. And right now, I think. Here it goes. It'll start moving. There it goes. So that's the scene basically right there that I did the painting for today from. So I did a screenshot and then I used it. This just shows you, let me get that. This just shows you the swimming area, and it's really a beautiful place. It's where the Rainbow River meets the Withlacoochee River in Dunnellon, and there was just so many angles that would have made for a great painting. But I chose pretty much this one right here, and I'll show you how I did that. Let me get it back to myself first. Okay, I do it right. Yeah, so today I want to show you how I painted this one. I hopefully was able to, it's 99% watercolor. I used a little bit of gouache to get some of those white highlights in there, but otherwise it's watercolor, and I just like the way it came out. I like the way it came out, and I like the suggestions you guys gave me with the last one. The one suggestion really was true. Was the last one was too busy. There's too much going on. I have a bad habit of doing that, of keeping things too busy. And I actually was drifting in that direction with this one, and I said, no, in my brain, I said, no. All right, so that's it. Let me show you how I did that. And thank you for watching, and for commenting, and for, what do you call that thing, subscribing. I don't even know how that works. The bell, people say ring the bell. I don't even know where the bell is. But if there's a bell, you want to ring it, go ahead. All right, here we go. Good morning. Yesterday, Robin and I went down to the city beach in Dunnellon, which is a very small little beach on the Rainbow River. The Rainbow River flows maybe 5 miles, maybe 6 miles, and it starts at a spring. And you can swim up there at the spring too. So that place is called the Headwaters. And the city beach where we went yesterday is called the city beach, but it also has a name. It's called the Chaplain, Dinkins, the Chaplain Dinkins Memorial Park. I think I'm leaving out his middle initial. Chaplain Dinkins III Memorial Park. Yeah, there was a third in there. But anyway, it's called the City Beach, and we went there. And it's, like I say, it's the end of the Rainbow River. The end of the rainbow. I never thought of that before, saying it that way. But yes, what it is. It's the end of the Rainbow River. And where the Rainbow River ends is not into the Gulf of Mexico. It ends into another river. It flows into the Withlacoochee River. So if you're from the area, you know that name. In fact, I think there are 2 Withlacoochee rivers. I'm not really sure about that. But anyway, this one, at this point in the Withlacoochee River, it flows, after that, then it does flow into the Gulf of Mexico. And there are manatees here in this part of the world, but they don't ever come into the Rainbow River because the Withlacoochee has a dam, and that dam prevents the dam prevents the wildlife. Is that what I want to say? The manatees. I'm drawing a blank here. Prevents the manatees from swimming upstream into the Rainbow River. Now, I say that with a little bit of caution because I have heard people say that they've seen manatees in the Rainbow River. I can't swear to it. I can swear that I've heard people say it, but I can't swear that they've seen them. I've never seen them. But then again, I was in the Rainbow River a lot when I was younger. And now I really, it's one of those things where, you know, you wish you would do it more often. You have some things like that, so it's kind of where I am with that. So I'm just painting a simple little landscape based on what we saw yesterday. The river, and the trees across the river. There was so much activity in the river. I wanted to show Robin, because she had never experienced what I'm about to tell you, but you can swim in the Rainbow River over to where it meets the Withlacoochee River, and the temperature of the rainbow is cooler than the temperature of the Withlacoochee. Very cool, isn't it? So I wanted to show her that one. Well, we didn't bring our bathing suits yesterday, so we didn't go in the water, but anyway, that's the truth. You can actually feel the temperature change. If you look at the Google Maps overview, you know that thing, like a sky, like Earth view, whatever they call that thing. You can see it. You can see the color change too. It's a little bit darker. The Withlacoochee is a little bit darker than the rainbow, because the rainbow is fresh. I mean, it's only been out of the ground for 5 miles. The further upstream you go, the more clear it is. It gets clearer and clearer, and it's just beautiful. And you know, even at any point, if you just want to take in something beautiful, the Rainbow River, pretty much any, I bet you almost any river, but you just sit there and look at the water and just take in whatever it is you get to see, whether it's little animals, you know, feeding, or like yesterday we saw some birds, and so it's always kind of cool. All right, I'm just painting. It's a relatively simple scene. It's a beautiful scene. Hopefully it comes out beautiful. But you know, sometimes I look at the river and I marvel at how beautiful it is. And then I think about how stupid I was as a youth. I had moved here from New York, and I wanted nothing more than to go back to New York. And I did. Probably for about 10 years after I got my driver's license, I was back in New York all the time. I was driving up there all the time. But the reason I say I was stupid is because right in my own backyard down here in Florida, I had the most beautiful scenery, some of the most beautiful places to go. And I was just so whatever. I just was refusing. I think a lot of people do that, by the way. I think a lot of people refuse to see the beauty in the area around them. Maybe that's why I do the paintings so often. Maybe the paintings are a way of paying homage to the beauty. Is that the right word? Paying homage to the beauty. So keep this light. This is the variation of light and dark here. Just kind of trying to brush it in. get the foundation of the painting here. And then I have a poem from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow I want to share with you. So a lot of times I noticed in the paintings I've been doing, I'm using watercolor, but I'm not really painting with a watercolor style. And so I wanted to try to intentionally do that this time. I wanted to intentionally make a watercolor style, if that makes sense. I looked at the painting I did yesterday and I was wondering what I could have done differently, what I could have done better. And some of you contributed to that question because I asked that question on the video. And I love the answers, so thank you for that. The one that kind of hit me was I made the rocks too busy. It was a lighthouse painting, and I made the rocks too busy. And I thought, you know, you're right. So thank you to whoever it is that said that. They were too busy. It wasn't necessary to paint it like that. I was slipping back into an old habit of mine, which is to try to replicate a photo, which is not a good thing. You really don't want to replicate a photo when you're doing paintings. Paintings are a different animal. Different animal. But you know, back in the early days, we've talked about this before, artists were kind of expected to do paintings that looked like photographs because there was no such thing as a photograph. So the more you could make something look realistic, the better. Back then. And back for the customer. It was always the customer. And the customer was always like a rich royalty guy or something. That's what it was back then. So I'm trying to get these trees. They're not really that distant, so they don't have to be that faded out, but I still want them to have that that yellow, green look at the top, and then get darker as they get closer to the bottom. So I'm using a little bit yellow here. Today is Sunday. It's 5:52 in the morning. Robin is asleep. It's good to have Robin home. And I'm going to go to church with Robin and her mom later on. And it's kind of a big deal because Robin's mom hasn't been well lately. She's 91. Please don't tell her I'm talking about her on the video. I don't think she'd like that, but anyway, she's an incredible lady. She is an inspiration to anybody who is worried about getting older, because she's just the perfect example of don't worry about it. She's the perfect example of don't worry about it. Does that make sense? She walks a couple miles a day. Well, not the last couple of weeks she hasn't, but she has been. That was kind of her thing, walking every day. But she's been recuperating. I won't talk too much about it, but she's going to go to church today. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with them. Anyway, so well, let's just dry a little bit and add some of the details here. Like I said, I don't want it to be too wait a minute, I want to make a more foreground area here. Let me grab some of that darker paint here. That's right, this has a little area over here. Yeah, I'm not looking at my reference photo very well. The reference photo I took yesterday when we were at the river. Yeah, so this is actually an area here, so that's kind of background, and this is sort of kind of a mid-ground here. Some of the yellow back in there. Yeah, there's a little area over here because there's a home over here, and they have a dock with a boat, but I'm not going to put the boat or any of that in there. Just going to create the reflections in the water. Kind of do it that way. Get some more dark in there. And I will use a little bit of gouache to put some of those lighter colors in there. So how you guys? Thank you for supporting this channel. Alright, I'm going to let some of this dry here. Just put a little bit of darkness there. A little bit of darkness here. And then the water there. That's the reflection. Yeah, I wanted to do a study of distant trees. I thought that would be a fun topic one day for the video. Because we all do this. I bet you do this when you're driving down the road or taking a walk. You look at the shadows and the shapes of the trees and the way the light hits the leaves, and how you probably in your mind you say, well, how would I paint that if I was going to paint it? Do you do that? I do that a lot too. I look at the world around me as an artist, as a potential, everything is a potential painting subject. I look at how light hits things. So this is already starting to look like the reference photo a little bit, you know? It's starting to look like it, and I want to get it just enough kind of groundwork, almost foundation here, so that I can let it dry. And then I can add the details to it. And this has got to have some grass coming up out of there. And then there's this tree over here in the corner that popping its little branches out there. Just a little bit. Do you hear the birds outside? The crows. When I put food out for the crows, like peanuts, they grab them and they put them in their mouth, and there's just so, they can put so much in their mouth. I really think they stuff them down their throat. I'm assuming they take it then back to their nest or something. I don't know. Alright, let me let that dry. There we go. It's kind of the way I want it to look. Okay. This is the poem from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It's called Daylight and Moonlight. In broad daylight and at noon, yesterday, I saw the moon, sailing high but faint and white as a schoolboy's paper kite. In broad daylight yesterday, I read a poet's mystic lay, and it seemed to me at most as a phantom or a ghost. But at length the feverish day, like a passion, died away, and the night, serene and still, fell on village, vale, and hill. Then the moon in all her pride, like a spirit glorified, filled and overflowed the night with revelations of her light. And the poet's song began, passed like music through my brain. Night interpreted to me all its grace and mystery. Yeah, pretty true. Pretty true. The moon is sort of a mysterious thing. I don't know much about the science of the moon, but I think we're one of the only planets with just one moon, right? All the others have more than one. Can you imagine if we had more than one? What that would be like? I guess we'd have two sources of light at night. And like he says, sometimes you can see the moon in the daytime. We always point it out, right? Whenever you're with somebody and you see the moon in the daytime, you point it out? You say, oh, I see the moon. I can see the moon. I can see the moon, the inconstant moon. That's a Romeo and Juliet line. The moon, the inconstant moon. All right, now let's try to spread some of this out. And just get that water looking like water. Let those distant trees look like distant trees. Let the sunlight hitting the tops of those trees be obvious. Let the depth of the bottom part be mysterious. You can walk through there. You can go across the river into that wooded area. I used to take canoes. I really should do some of this stuff. I kind of, like, I'm reluctant to tell you I used to. I really want to tell you I do. But I really don't anymore, but I should. Although, recently, Robin and I did do bicycles. So I was originally, for a while there, I was saying we used to take bicycles out. But now I can say we do take our bicycles out. We have taken our bicycles out. Make sure this is, I don't want this to be black water. I want it to be blue. And the truth is, it's very hard to create color because it's a beautiful blue-green when you look at it. You know what is really a beautiful blue-green is the water in off the coast of South Florida, down by the Miami area, and in the Keys. Also up in the north part of Florida, in the Panhandle, there's a lot of beautiful beaches up there. Okay, let's get some of these yellows into those trees in the mid-ground here. Going to darken this a little bit. Just darken it a little bit. Because by making it dark, I can then add some light colored wispy things. That's what I think I'll do next. Yesterday we were looking for alligators in the water. We didn't see any. And I heard a lady, there was a sign there that said, "Beware of alligators." And I heard a lady say to another lady, "Did you see that sign?" And she said, "Don't believe it. There's no alligators in there." And I didn't say anything, but there are alligators in there. What it is that when you have a public beach like that, the alligators, they stay away. But how do I know they are there? Because if you go there at night, now, again, it's been many years, but this is the truth. If you went there at night, you would see the eyes. If you shined a light onto the water, you would see the glow of the eyes, the orange glow. And it's a real way. What do you want to say? It's a real wake-up call, I guess. I don't know how to say that better. It's a real eye-opener. Because you're swimming in there in the daytime. And at night, there are alligators right there where you were swimming. And so I'm telling you something from the past. So then you might say, well, Larry, how do you know that they're still there? Because you're talking about something years ago. Well, the truth is, I don't. So I'm going to start there. However, let me tell you something. Back then, the alligator was an endangered species. And then the government decided to protect them, so people could no longer just hunt them or kill them or whatever. And people were eating them. They still eat them. I think they have a farm somewhere where they raise them just for food. But since they're protected now, I think they're more plentiful. I think they are. Let me just get a little bit of a wash going here. I want it to be kind of a blue wash. There we go. Just get it very thin. Very thin. I just don't want that to be pure white right there. I want it to be light, but not pure white. There, that worked. Yeah, it's working, I guess. Alright, now let's get this a little bit smudged up here. Let me move this stuff around, so later on when it dries, it'll be an interesting back of the card. Yeah, I don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that I'm doing these cards for people. I could put the daylight moon in there. All right, let's get some. Some gouache. Get a little bit of white. And I'll use it straight out of the tube to kind of add some of the highlights that I see in the painting. I mean, in the reference photo. And that's good enough. And some of the yellows also. I mean, it already looks like the way I want it to look, but this area right here is not, I don't like the way that looks right now. There we go. So what I want to do, I think I'll take my little brush. Lots of little wispies on there. First I want to take the yellow, mix it with the green a little bit. See if I can highlight some of these areas over here. Just a little bit. And then down here too, there's some grassy area over here. Yeah, I know, I'm hearing it in my head already. Too much detail, too much detail. I guess that's just the way I am. I just want to have a little bit of that look right there. And then over here, there's some of this grass here. And I know it is kind of breaking away from the whole watercolor look, but it does, to me, I like the way it adds a little bit of texture to it. Maybe that's what it really is. I just want that texture added to it. There's a bit of grass there. The sun is hitting the edges of these trees over here. Yesterday when we went to this beach, I hadn't been there in a long time, and it used to be free, but it was $2. And so Robin and I parked the car, and then I noticed a sign that said $2. And I said, Robin, we have to pay $2. Well, unbeknownst to me, the couple that parked right next to us at the same time as us, her name was also Robin. And they thought her and her husband thought I was talking to her. There was a little bit of confusion for a moment, and then they realized, oh, there's two Robins. That was interesting. So we kind of made instant friends just by having the same name. All right, now let's get some of this here. Over there too, a little bit of green. Oh, green, yellow. Yellow that looks green. Yellow that'll trick your eye into thinking it's green. How about that? This is what paint is anyway. It's a trick, it's an eye trick. I think the study of trees in the distance is a good topic. What do you see? What do you see? I always have this theory, by the way. that you should paint what you see and not what you know. There's caveats to that. Caveats, that's the right word? Caveat? Anyway, it's a subject I would like to bring up with you one day. It's especially true of drawing portraits. I can tell you a little bit about that theory. If you paint what you see and not what you know when you're doing a portrait, there's sometimes, like if you're doing a portrait, you are looking at a face and their nose is such a way, maybe there's a mustache or maybe they've got their face angled in a certain way, but you don't see the nostrils of the nose. Okay? But yet you know there are nostrils there. And I've seen artists do this. They will paint in nostrils and there are no nostrils. They are, obviously they're there, but you can't see them. And if you can't see them from the angle that you're drawing the person or painting the person, then you should just stay away from putting it into the picture. Because if it was a camera, again, using that whole camera idea, if you're using a camera, the camera wouldn't add nostrils. There we go. Now I'm still not happy with this area down here. I think what I have to do is get kind of a dark green, and then I will add some lighter yellow to it. There we go. And we can add some white to it also. Now I'm holding off on the white just for a little bit. A couple of areas there. Just add some darkness there. Let me add some yellow ochre. I think that'll help. That'll help a lot. Absolutely, I can see it working already. Yeah, the yellow ochre helps. And then it might also help to darken the water underneath it. Give it more contrast. There we go. I think that works. A little bit more of that yellow ochre here. There we go. Now add some of that yellow to it. Gonna break it up. Let's get the yellow in there. Get a lot of little wisps of grass here. Little tiny lines there. Gotta make sure the brush is just using one hair of the brush. it up a little bit with that white. There's a few things over here, a few like little tiny lines, and that's going to reflect in the water too. I don't know what these things are. I'm assuming they're pillars of some sort, some kind of a structure over there. And over here we can add a few more white spots to give the grass more of a grassy look. That might be a little bit too stark right there. Let's kind of make it mysterious, whatever that is. Yeah, just a little something reflecting in the water. Yeah, kind of mysterious, whatever that is over there. We don't really know what that is. Get some of this white. Some birds. Make that a little bit darker underneath it. Because I think that's a house over there. Pretty sure that's what that is. Now that I'm looking at it closely. Yeah, it's just a little building. think we're done. I think I'll put a little bit more yellow over here. All right. I think we did the city beach in Dunnellon on the Rainbow River. There we go. Dunnellon's City Beach. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.